Please welcome to News Mongolian MNB World. I'm Jugder Gambold. And for our top stories. German President Frank Walter Steinmeier launched his state visit to Mongolia. The Mongol Post company has established a mail processing center. Italian ambassador to Mongolia presents her credentials to the President of Mongolia. For the news, stay with us. President of Germany Frank Walter Steinmeier and the First Lady Elke Budenbender are paying a state visit to Mongolia from the 6th to the 8th of February. 50 years ago, the Federal Republic of Germany and Mongolia established diplomatic relations.
With his visit, the President of Germany wishes to pay tribute to the close bilateral relations between Germany and Mongolia and underscore the importance of the partnership with Mongolia. Guests from the cultural sphere will accompany the Federal President, underscores German President's office. Mongolian President Ухнаа Хүрэлцөх and the First Lady Лусандорж Болорццог will welcome the Federal President and Elke Budenbender with military honors in Ulaanbaatar on the 7th of February. Then the two sides will hold official talks. Meanwhile, German First Lady Elke Budenbender will visit a kindergarten where air purifiers and energy-efficient building insulation were installed with the support of UNICEF and the Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit, reports German President's office. On the 8th of February, Mongolian Prime Minister Lowson Namsrauyurden and the Speaker of Parliament Gomchov Zandanshatar will pay a courtesy call to the President of Germany. Diplomatic relations between Mongolia and Germany were established on January the 31st in 1974. This year marks the 50th anniversary. Federal President Frank Walter Steinmeier visited Mongolia in 2014 as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. In 2022, at the invitation of the Chancellor of Germany Olaf Scholz, the Prime Minister of Mongolia, Oyurdan, paid official visit to Germany.
The Mongol Post company has inaugurated a mail processing center at the Genghis Khan International Airport, marking a significant stride towards aligning its operations with international standards.
The establishment of the mail processing center was initially unveiled in 2016 alongside the inaugural IPO of Mongol Post LLC on the stock exchange. The project was realized through funding acquired from this venture. With the ongoing global digital transition, the roles and obligations of postal entities keep evolving. In this context, the operations of this center, along with those of postal organizations in Mongolia, hold the potential to enhance international postal endeavors.
The inauguration of the International Mail Processing Center at Genghis Khan International Airport in Hushikti-Hundi Valley marks a significant milestone in the history of Mongol Post LLC. Comparable facilities are commonplace in many other countries' international airports, and we are delighted to now have one of them meets international standards. With the capacity to process approximately 3 million mail items annually and subject to custom control, this processing center is poised to further streamline our operations. In 2016, Mongol Post LLC embarked on the initiative to publicly offer a portion of its shares following the decision of the State Great Khorol. We see the transformation of this formerly 100% state-owned entity into an open joint stock company with a certain percentage controlled by the public as bearing fruit. While profitability is a key objective for any company, enhancing corporate governance is equally crucial. We must integrate cutting-edge expertise and technological advancement into our operations to remain at the forefront of our industry. By collectively pursuing these goals, we anticipate a substantial increase in the company's revenue.
Please take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
Newly appointed Italian Ambassador Giovanni Picaretta presented her credentials to Mongolia's president. The Italian ambassador shared with the President of Mongolia the commitment of both Italy and Mongolia to increase their efforts to further intensify bilateral dialogue and political cooperation, which are fostered by the share of common values such as democracy, the rule of law, human rights, and multilateralism, and the common pursuit of peace. the forthcoming celebration of the 55th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Italy and Mongolia in 2025 will offer further opportunities to intensify this strong partnership across the board. Both Italy and Mongolia renewed their commitment to foster the important economic relationship that already binds the two countries, included in the field of sustainable cashmere production and other strategic areas.
Please take a look at currency exchange rates provided by the Central Bank of Mongolia. Now please have foreign news partnered with international news agencies. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in Cairo as he continued his fifth visit to the Middle East since the outbreak of the war in Gaza between Israel and Hamas.
Blinken is hoping to press ahead with a potential ceasefire deal and post-war planning while tamping down regional tensions. His visit also comes amid growing concerns in Egypt about Israel's stated intentions to expand the combat in Gaza to areas on the Egyptian border that are crammed with displaced Palestinians. Israel's defense minister has said Israel's offensive will eventually reach the town of Rafah on the Egyptian border, where more than half of Gaza's 2.3 million people have sought refuge and now living in increasingly miserable conditions. United Nations humanitarian monitors said Tuesday that Israeli evacuation orders now cover 2/3 of Gaza's territory, driving thousands more people every day toward the border areas. Egypt has warned that an Israeli deployment along the border would threaten the peace treaty the two countries signed over 4 decades ago. Egypt fears an expansion of combat to the Rafah area could push terrified Palestinian civilians across the border, a scenario Egypt has said it is determined to prevent. Before arriving in Egypt, Blinken met with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince in Riyadh on Monday. Saudi officials have said the kingdom is still interested in normalizing relations with Israel in a potentially historic deal, but only if there is a credible plan to create a Palestinian state.
The Israeli military said on Tuesday that its troops are continuing to operate in western Khan Yunis and conduct targeted raids in the northern and central Gaza Strip. It released a video that it says shows Israel Defense Forces troops conducting targeted raids in Gaza. It said they were working above and underground and that numerous Hamas militants have been killed across the Gaza Strip.
Israel's evacuation orders in the Gaza Strip now cover 2/3 of the territory, or 246 square kilometers, United Nations humanitarian monitors said Tuesday. More than half of Gaza's population of 2.3 million people is now crammed into the town of Rafah on the border with Egypt and surrounding areas, the United Nations Office for Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs said. The health ministry in Gaza said the known Palestinian death toll is 27,000 people after nearly 4 months of war. A quarter of Gaza's residents are now starving and 85% of the population has been driven from their homes, with hundreds of thousands crammed in makeshift tent camps. The war broke out on October 7th when Hamas and other militants stormed into southern Israel, killing some 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and abducted around 250 others.
The European Union's executive arm on Tuesday shelved its anti-pesticide proposal in yet another concession to farmers after weeks of protests blocked major capital and economic lifelines across the bloc.
The proposal had been languishing in European Union institutions for the past 2 years, yet The move of European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was the latest indication that the 27-nation bloc is willing to let slip some environmental concerns over the need to keep the farming community in its side. Farmers have insisted that proposals like the one on pesticides would only increase the bureaucratic burden and keep them behind laptops instead of on tractors, while the expensive measures would further add to the pricing gap they face with cheap food imports from foreign farmers that are not burdened by such measures. She acknowledged that the proposals had been made over the heads of farmers.
The Commission proposed SURE, which is the worthy aim to reduce the risks of chemical plant protection products. But the SURE proposal has become a symbol of polarization. It has been rejected by the European Parliament. There is no progress anymore in the Council either. So we have to do something. And that is why I will propose to the College to withdraw this proposal. But of course the topic stays. And to move forward, more dialogue and a different approach is needed. And on this basis, the Commission could make a new proposal with much more matured content and with the stakeholders together.
It is unclear when new proposals will be made. European Union parliamentary elections are set for June, and the plight of farmers has become a focal point of campaigning, even pushing climate issues aside over the past weeks. Last week already, von der Leyen announced plans to shield farmers from cheaper products exported from wartime Ukraine and to allow farmers to use some land they had been required to keep fallow for environmental reasons. The European Union Commission set to announce more measures late Tuesday on how to reach their stringent targets to counter climate change, and environmentalists fear there could be more concessions there too.
Thousands of motorists were stuck on highways in central China on Tuesday as heavy snow snarled travel during the Lunar New Year holidays rush. Aerial images showed long traffic backups in Hubei province on Monday night.
About 4,000 vehicles were stuck because of icy conditions, a provincial official told state broadcaster CCTV. The jams were expected to be cleared by Tuesday. The heavy snow, unusual for central China, was forecast to continue into Wednesday. Millions of people are heading home for the Lunar New Year, which falls on Saturday. Families traditionally gather for dinner the night before. The airport in Wuhan, the capital of Hubei, temporarily closed runways several times because of icy conditions. Some flights and trains were cancelled, stranding travelers for hours. Several incidents have been reported in the region where fabricated houses collapsed under heavy snowfalls. CCTV showed a rescue operation in Tianmen city of Hubei province late Monday. Traffic on the highway of Hefei, the largest city in Anhui province, has largely resumed Tuesday afternoon after snow stopped and road was cleared, according to CCTV.
Pakistan general elections are set to be held on February 8 after months of delay. The country has been at the center of political, economic, and even judicial drama over the past year.
The youngest hopeful for Pakistan's next prime minister is Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, the son of the assassinated former premier Benazir Bhutto. He is also the grandson of the country's first democratically elected prime minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who led the nation in the 1970s and was overthrown and executed by the military. Both Bhutto Zardari's mother and grandfather still command huge reverence among party supporters, handing him a captive audience. He became a chairman of his family's political party days after his mother was killed in 2007 during her third bid for premiership. Bhutto Zardari's political life was also shaped by his father Asif Ali Zardari, who served as Pakistan's president, a mostly ceremonial post from 2008 to 2013. He won his first parliamentary seat in 2018 and became foreign minister after Imran Khan was ousted as prime minister. The Bhutto power base is in southern Sindh province, an agricultural and commercial hub, but his party is unlikely to get enough votes to get him the premiership. it could still be part of a Sharif-led coalition government. Bhuta Zardari, who's 35 years old, has vowed to end the personal vendettas that characterize Pakistan's politics and has also urged for investment in climate resilience as a key to the nation's survival.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll see you next time with more news and updates. Have a great day ahead.